Hello, everyone. This dissertation is about appointing parties in OpenBIM in the context of ISO 19650. The agenda for this presentation covers this point: an introduction, key concepts, research questions, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. As an introduction, the architectural engineering and construction sector needs to work in a more integrated projects, considering the different phases of the life cycle of a project. Also, it's now the low productivity level of this sector in comparison with others, such as the automobile. Then, in the topic of information management, that's closely related to BIM, it's pointed out that the appointing party, the owner or the client, is the originator of the information requirements. Also, for implementing BIM, it needs to be addressed different dimensions, such as technology, people, and process. Nevertheless, the existence of multiple sources, such as standards, guidelines, books, templates, that create confusion for an appointing party who wants to start its BIM journey. So, as part of the literature review, there are some key concepts that need to be highlighted. So let's start with the ISO 19650 series. The ISO indicate what resources are responsible of the appointing party, and they are the project information, the exchange information requirement, information standards, information methods and procedures, information protocol, the reference information and share resource, and also establishing a common data environment. It means the workflow and a solution. Besides, in the ISO is described the information management process, which is comprised by 8 processes, which are assessment and need, invitation to tender, tender response, deployment, mobilization, collaborative production of information model, delivery, and project closeout. Also, this table shows the level of involvement of the appointing party in each process, and how it's grouped some processes in information procurement, information planning, and this part of the table, and information production. Then these two elements, resource and this division in the information management process, can be understood with a matrix, an information management responsibility matrix. A general and a detailed matrix helps to know explicitly what the responsibilities of an appointing party are in relation to information management. It shows process composed by activities and then sub-activities. Now, about OpenBIM, which is this data that can be freely used, produced, republished by solutions such as IFC, MBD, BCF, and Measure Delivery Solution, IDS. The IFC is this data schema defined in express language and XML, and it can be defined as a digital description of a build asset in industry. The MBD is a subset of this data schema that support a workflow or specific use. So there are official MBDs such as coordination view, reference view, design transfer view. The BCF is a communication protocol of a model-based issues, and it can be used in 2 manners: a web service or exchanging files. Finally, the IDS is a machine-readable format of requirement that permits an automatic revision. And the other pillar of this literature review, it's about link construction. This methodology strives for getting a continuous flow that permits an increase in the productivity by reducing weight. There are different tools such as choosing CBA, choosing by advantages, set-based design, plus delta analysis, Ishikawa's diagram, and 5-wise analysis. Choosing by advantage, CBA, is a structural comparison between different alternatives. Set-based design strives for for analyzing different alternatives that can be design options, construction materials, construction procedures. And a plus delta analysis, this is for improvement, considering how we are doing right now a procedure. So with this in mind, the result question was, what should be the path for those appointing parties that need to start this BIM journey, considering an OpenBIM approach in the context of ISO 19650? And this can be decomposed in the following questions. Whether the responsibility of the appointing party in the information management process. The second one, are templates and a technical guide enough for paving the path for those appointing party? And the last one, how can an OpenBIM approach and some tools of lean construction foster the implementation of ISO 19650? So the methodology follows a linear sequence. It starts with the literature review, then initial semi-structured interviews with a panel of experts in BIM. It follows the development of templates and a technical guide that compiles multiple sources that comes from the literature review. And then a survey and a semi-structured interview to experts about the proposal. After that, some adjustments were made, and finally, the conclusions of the dissertation was made. So about the results, there were 13 templates proposed: the organizational information requirement, the project information requirement, the exchange information requirement, the pre-appointment BEP, information standards, information methods and procedures, and all the ones that it's listed. And it shows. Alongside those templates, there is a technical guide that gives recommendation on how to deal with these templates. This is one of the templates. It corresponds to the exchange information requirement. Also, it shows some relevant parts of the technical guide. For instance, since this is the first resource or document that the prospective lead appointing party revise, it's necessary to include in section 1 some relevant information about the project, such as scope details and constraints. Then in section 2, there is an analysis about the purpose of the information requirements. So the question to answer is why is asked that particular information. Then it goes from a general purpose to a deeper analysis by decomposing in goals and objectives, considering that an objective is more tangible than a goal. Then section 3 presents the framework of level of information need. This is composed of 2 subsections. The first one is name presentation, comprised the contents, summary, format, form, information exchange date, and description in plain language. This first subsection pretends to be descriptive because the second subsection, next, is named content and is divided in structured information and a structured one. 3 elements compose the structured information: geometrical, alphanumerical, and documentation. The metadata is closely connected to alphanumerical information, and OpenBIM approach can be included by considering IFC properties, sets for objects, for instance, fire rating, acoustic rating, warranty, manufacturer conditions, and service life. Also, unstructured information is the one that is not machine readable and needs to be interpretable by a person. Finally, in section 4, it's asked to complete the key decision points connected to a plan of work or phase. This will help to keep track of those key decision points. Then section 5, information delivery milestones are defined, considering that those should be delivered before the key decision points because time is needed for evaluation and take an informed decision. Then this is other template, the pre-appointment BIM execution plan, BEP. But in this presentation, I am showing just one section of this template, specifically subsection 5.3. This because it can be mentioned how an OpenBIM approach can be included in the context of ISO 19650. In this subsection, the prospective lead appointed party is asked to point out how plans to implement open standards in the information production phase. This is other templates called response requirement and evaluation criteria. The first section of the template shows the resource documents that an appointing party expects to receive from the prospective lead appointed party at the tender response process. They are pre-appointment BEP, mobilization plan, risk assessment, and capability and capacity assessment. All of them in the context of ISO 19650. Then in section 2 is included tool choosing by advantages from the lean construction community, and in the technical guide is described the factors and criteria considered. They are technical, competency, quality, economical, mobilization plan, risk register. The criteria to be considered in the evaluation is the description of or specification of each factor. In this slide, I present some points as a result of the interviews. The first one is about the importance to take consideration of the type of delivery method, which impacting the level of fragmentation in the supply chain, the level of responsibility and expertise needed from the appointed party. The second point is about the confusion that can bring to have two terms closely related. First, the key decision points, and second, information delivery milestone. According to the response of the interview, there is necessary to state clearly the distinction between them and how they are related. This was included in a footnote in the template that says a delivery information milestone must be delivered specific days or weeks in advance compared to the key decision points associated. In order to have time to review and accept information with the aim to take the most informed decision. The third point is about the pre-appointment BEP. The panel of experts agreed that was too demanding to ask for a BIM process design in the way of process map in the tendering process, considering that there are only prospective data appointed party. And finally, interview is expected to have the resource information standards included in the exchange information requirements and not as a separate or standalone resource. According to the response, this will help to have a clear and an entire vision of what is expected by the appointed party. So this last slide contain it's related to the resource question, and it addressed the pattern appointing party needs to follow for implementing BIM. It was found of relevant importance that this appointing party needs to know information management process. And also, just to finish, it was found an openness for including tools from the construction community, such as set-based design, choosing by advantage, plus delta analysis, and Ishikawa diagram. And with that, this is the final part of this of my presentation. Thank you for attending.